In my entire life, I was witnessing suffering and violence and systematic poverty and systematic violence on the streets of my hometown, Brazil, and as a researcher, being very aware of the violence in the entire country related with the suffering and this collective trauma of communities, particularly communities of color and communities living in poverty, right? The social disorganized neighborhoods. So I became very aware that in order to help these people, right, help communities, help even people who are in law enforcement, or even those individuals who are committing crime, or those individuals who are victims of violence, one thing in common that was very, very important, that was the bridge between healing and growth, and healing and flourishing, was the idea of compassion. So I think compassion is a very important piece, right, that can kind of help us to heal and help us to grow. That's why I'm doing this work.
All three of you have raised the issue of the personal, the work that you do professionally, and the broader societal issues. So how do we make the world much more aware of the importance of this compassion culture that we want to build? What's your experience of getting people engaged with growing compassion?
So I was facilitating workshops in my community. So when I joined the GCC, I thought this is where it is for me. So I attended every meeting that I could in my community and my neighborhood, just trying to get people involved, just putting the word out there. I started to mention it in my workplace, just so that people, compassion was not a word that they were that familiar with. So it was just trying to, we live in a very individualistic country too in Australia, where we promote competition and comparison with one another. So there wasn't a lot of space, that sort of reduces empathy that we have for other people. So we've been running some circle meetings in our community, and that seems to be working really well for us. So that's what I enjoy doing.
Maureen, you seem to be doing an amazing job. Nathan, what about you? How are you managing to get your peers and older, younger people interested in this?
Yeah, it's actually true that the majority of us here are actually young people. But I think what's more compelling for me with the compassion-based approach in community engagement and community development is that it is not just about the fleeting emotion of pity or of empathy. Of course, it is important, but we go beyond these fleeting emotions or emotional contagion, because it is compassion is actually a way of life. It is actually an enduring sensitivity to suffering. It's not just about the being bamboozled, with pain and suffering, but creating a space of rationality, a space of decision making, a space of prioritization for all these tremendous sufferings that the world is experiencing, that the Philippines, in our case, is experiencing. I think it also has, for instance, I follow the philosopher Martha Nussbaum in defining compassion. Well, first, of course, compassion should be non-trivial. It should be really necessary, meaning it is really going through the roots of systemic oppression, systemic marginalization, and exploitation. And of course, it is there's also the standard of non-fault. I think it was also um, included in our trainings before, that we are just feeling compassion towards a person when that person actually is frustrated based on legitimate expectations, and we don't want to delegitimize or to reduce the meaning of compassion in an all-encompassing yet very reductive bracket of awe and pity. It is also objective in a sense that we're not just after the quantity of how we were able to help a certain amount, a certain number rather, of participants in a particular project, in a particular program, but we are actually anchoring ourselves into the objectivity of empowering these people, not just the one time, big time kind of project, but a more, sustainable one, and a more puncturing of our humanity, our common humanity. And for me, that is very much important, that we apply compassion-based approaches, compassion-based strategies in community engagement.